Hello guys, Manny here, and in today's video we're going to go over the Titan II from GATE. Primarily we're going to go over the actual hardware and how the Titan II looks compared to the Titan I, and we'll go over the firmware very briefly, very quick. So to not prolong this video, let us begin. So to hit the ground running fast, we're going to go over primarily the actual hardware features that the Titan II might have in comparison to the Titan I. Now, aside from the color scheme, which is pretty obvious, one of the things that I want to point out primarily is a specific connection that's on the Titan II. Yes, if you look at this, you are correct. This is for their pulsar system, and it looks like it might also be for other HPA units. Now, don't quote me on that 100%, as I have not tested it with actual other HPA units. I do have a Polarstar installed in a Mod 3, but I haven't had the time or been able to find another unit to be able to install it on my Mod 3 as to test it and see whether or not it actually functions. The other thing that you're going to notice is that there's less circuitry on the boards of the Titan II, and that only tells me that GATE has been able to do their research and prevent a large amount of use of the area that is available on their trigger board. And it's good because this means that they're doing work to try to improve their product, which tells me that it should function as best as it can possibly can. But aside from that, that's pretty much the hardware. It was very quick, wasn't it? So with that being said, now that we discussed the hardware, let's go right over to the actual firmware, which is primarily the thing that I want to talk about. Now, if you're wondering why do I have my cell phone and make myself look like I don't know what the heck I'm doing, or I'm on my phone rather than recording this video, this is because the Titan II, if you're not aware, it does have the Bluetooth link integrated into the actual trigger board, which is awesome. So I will show an image on the side next to me of what the firmware looks like, what exactly it comes with. I'm going to primarily go through the main things that I noticed that are completely different compared to the Titan I, and the rest is just history. It's the same thing. It doesn't really matter. A lot of it is either nerd stuff that probably you don't care unless you are trying to make the ultimate machine that exceeds Metal Gear. Now, once you've installed your actual Titan II into a specific unit, gearbox, or whichever replica that you want, you're gonna have to hook up a battery to the actual wire and let it run its process. Once that is done, you'll get the GCS application and you'll be able to connect to it. Now, showing you right on the screen next to me, I'm gonna go over exactly what you need to do initially, and then I'll go over the actual firmware if you've never used the actual Blue Link itself. Now, all you'll need to do is tap on the first plus sign. It'll show up the actual ready to connect, and that's because I already connected. Now, one of the big important things that you have to be aware of is that in every unit will have a pin code attached to it. So that being said, it's going to be included inside the box. You do not want to lose that pin code because that pin code is static, which means you cannot change it at all whatsoever. You'll have to contact GATE and go through whatever process, if they even have one, when it comes to actually trying to get that pin code. If you can't get that pin code, you're pretty much screwed. Once you connect your unit to the actual phone itself in the GCS application, it'll show up your V2 Titan II. You'll just click on it, and again, I'll just go over the main important stuff and skip everything else. One of the big things that I want to talk about is actually the both half section gears, right? Now, I like this because it includes two sensors now within the Titan II, which gives it better readings when your gears are cycling, right? Which is great. Now, the other thing that is included is the multifunction port. What is this? There are other sensors that can be used for other things. I'm not going to go too much into detail about it. This is something new, so I don't want to talk so much about it, but if you're a nerd, you know exactly what I'm talking about. you know exactly what's gonna be beneficial for you when it comes to these kinds of things of multi-functional ports and stuff like that. The other thing that is included with the Titan II is the brushless motor mode. Now you can use brushless motors. That is amazing, that is great. Now you don't have to worry about destroying your brushless motors or not being able to use a Titan because you have a brushless motor, or vice versa, right? So that's a good thing. Skipping right to the trigger section, the one thing that has changed when it comes to the actual configuration when it comes to the trigger is the trigger preferences. Within the trigger preferences, you no longer, the actual sensors aren't used individually as a unit itself. All the sensors within the trigger portion are used as one unit. So it means that the reading is not going to be individually like it was with the Titan I, but it'll be just one unit itself, which in turn gives a much more sensitive customizability when it comes to your sensitivity. If you're noticing on the actual screen, you're able to adjust the sensitivity down or up through a scale, and you can do that as close as you possibly can or as low as you can for your actual thing, or you can actually touch on the actual icon up top where it says semi and then just move it around, and that's pretty much your sensitivity. Now I have a customizable trigger where you can adjust the sensitivity mechanically, and then in combination with the Titan II, I can refine it as close as I can if I want the most sensitive trigger as possible. It does come with two-stage trigger for those of you who own AUGs that have version 2 gearboxes, as to be able to have the same capabilities as an AUG. And then you have a reset point. Now I love the reset point. I like this because it digitally mimics a trigger reset. What I mean is that as you pull the trigger all the way back, it's going to fire, and it has to return to a certain point that it's going to reset. To show you this, if you look at the actual firmware next to me, you'll be able to notice that if I go up, it shows now a reset point. If I'm not able to surpass that reset point, it's not going to reset. In this case, it is surpassing it. That's why it grays out, which lets the actual firmware and the unit know, hey, he already resetted its trigger. You can fire another shot again. But if you're not able to do that and it stays on the blue, even though it clears the semi, as you can see, the semi is not going to gray out and it's not going to allow me to fire again. That being said, this is dependent on whether or not you want a digital trigger reset. I don't really care for it. I mostly, what I care about when it comes to AEGs and airsoft is just playing airsoft and shooting, and that's it. If I want to do that and want to deal with reset triggers or trigger resets, that's why I go to my gas blowbacks, which give me the actual noise cue and the actual feeling of the trigger reset go off on that. So I'm not worried about this. With that, there's only two things that I need to mention about this. When it comes to the selector, there's not much change to it. The only difference is the recalibration. The recalibration is a little bit different. Now you don't need to place it in between each selection. It's just, it'll ask you to place it on safe and click next, and then it'll tell you to place it on semi and then click next and stuff like that. So that's a minor whatever change. It's not much of a difference. You don't have to put it in between selectors anymore or at a 45-degree angle like it used to be with the Titan 1s or the previous softwares for the Titan 1s and the Acers. One last thing that I'm going to mention, and this has nothing to do with the actual firmware itself, but it seems to be that GATE has made it to where there's only basic. There's no advanced or special package mode. So there's all the stuff like several types of fire selections and combinations to that is not going to exist. So that's the only other thing that you might run into that is not there. So that's pretty much it, guys, for the Titan II. Currently it is priced at around $126. on their website, but they're pretty hard to find because there is a 6 to 7 week lead time if you order one. Let me know what you think. Do you care about the Titan 2? Do you not care about it and you just want a Titan 1 because it's cheaper now and the features are pretty much the same, right? And you just want a trigger board so you can blast little kids right in the face? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my other social medias for more content like this. This has been Manny, guys, and until next time. Some people believe it's rivaling even that of High Kappa and Glock for rifle, as well as we have pistols. If you wish to take